People, deluded, I'm back again. I hope you're all doing well and safe this afternoon. I know it's the afternoon over here in the UK. I'm well aware some of you are in Australia. Only God himself knows what time it is, but I sympathize with you. And like I said, man, big up everyone that's locked in right now. Thank you very much for doing so. It means the world that you are. Please make sure you're hitting the like button. Moderators, please make sure you're on the case. And just as I said, moderator, who's the first person I see? Big up yourself, Omar. As I said, don't forget to smash the like buttons. I saw 18 the last time I looked. It was on 18 likes. So let's get that to something respectable. I sympathize with you, my guy. You're going to miss the first 30 minutes of the live. You know, we tend to be here an hour or so. The best thing about YouTube is you can reverse and them things there in your own time. You can reverse and rewind and all of them. And, you know, it's international break, people. There isn't really too much going on in terms of the football world. I say that there's a bunch of talking points depending on where you look. Towards the end, we'll talk about Greg Clark and his idiotic comments. Of course, you know me, I'll never miss an opportunity to voice my opinions on racism and all these sort of things. Tony Adams on Jude Bellingham, Szoboszlai, people, depending on what you read, still to this day, apparently he's coming Arsenal, we're in talks, and now I'm hearing Leipzig are in talks. And for me, he will follow what Highland and them sort of players have been doing and going from, you know, Salzburg to obviously Leipzig and things like that. And you know, Leipzig are starting to pee me off. The German clubs are starting to pee me off, my people, because you know the new football manager beat is out. I ain't got it yet, but the new football manager's out, and I'm not going to be able to sign anyone. I can't get Jude Bellingham if it carries on like this. I can't get Szoboszlai. I can't get Dani Almo. There's so many dons I can't sign. It's going to be quite jarring. So I hope that isn't the case. As I said, big up everybody and look at the commitment from Life from Planet X. He's going to sleep. I know he's in Australia, but he still found time to hit the like button. Sweet dreams, my guy. When you wake up, you've got a DG vid, or you probably have 10, depending on my work rate, and your time zone is probably a madness. Big up Joe, big up Thingy. It's G Medi's always here. Subi's been, you know, you've come into the game fairly recent in terms of my stuff, but since you've been here, you've been good, man. You're a good signing, man. You're a good signing, a good addition to the team, man. You hit it off straight away. Big up Yo, and another consistent one. Ruby's always here, you know. I'm good, my guy. I hope you're good too. You know, nice to see you lot here, man. Whatever time I do this live stream, you seem to always be here, people. It's crazy, man. You know, football manager. Come on, man. I hope you win whatever objectives you're trying to do in that game, man. Go for the likes, like you said. You know, we might as well jump straight into it and let's switch on and speak about Pepe now. South London's Finest has cued me in. He said, in my opinion, Pepe will be sold in the summer. I see your reasoning and I think there's a chance, and I somewhat agree. It depends. Before I get into obviously what we know about Pepe or what's been said, I feel you, my guy. I feel the club might just say, you know what, let's cut our costs. I know a lot of people see 72 million and they laugh at Arsenal. You know, the game's the game. But it's not 72 million like that. It's 72 million in, you know, provided he hits all of these objectives and goals and all of those things. Regardless of that, clearly we overpaid for Pepe. You know, modern day football, you have to overpay. Again, ifs and buts are not relevant, but if Pepe was signed for 30, 40 million, you know, we'd still have frustrations, of course, but there'd probably be less scrutiny. I share what South London's Finest has said. For me, anyways, my personal opinion, and, you know, to be fair, Arteta did use Pepe towards the tail end of last season on a madness, but for me personally, I don't think he fancies Pepe. You know, I hear what he's saying about inconsistencies and he wants this from him and that from him. I believe in what he's saying. I'm not disagreeing with anything Arteta said. But then when I flip it and I look at Willian, the same things you're calling from Pepe, Willian is not displaying it. You know, consistency, unless you're talking about consistently average, he's not doing it. You know, he's not. So it comes down to remove Willian for a sec. For me, you just don't fancy Pepe. I don't think he thinks he's a bad player. It's just not his cup of tea. So he might say, you know what, let's sell him. Any P's we get with him and possible other departures and wages being freed up, let's do something else. I personally think that. I'm of the other belief in that, you know, we have to kind of make it work. We've made a big commitment, you know, in terms of the financial outlay, of course. Obviously, with that being said, you know, he's still kind of young. We still have to get some sort of player out there. And it's frustrating because it's not like he's a crap player. It's not like he's dead. Like, if he wasn't a baller, it'd be fair. You know, I don't think he's really been afforded the luxury of having a team not built around him, but we don't play to him or Aubameyang's strengths consistently. I don't think he's had that. Obviously, he's joined the club at a turbulent time. He's not had a consistent partner at right back. You know, there's bare sort of excuses I afford Pepe as he should. But that being said, for what Pepe can do better on without all of these external factors, he's not consistent enough. You know, he's a baller, but it's no point being a baller on Thursday if you can't do this thing on the Sunday. You know, generally speaking, because this year he ain't even had a chance to do that. He's a baller. He can frustrate. I think he's improved defensively. I think that was one thing Arteta was getting onto him about from the moment Arteta stepped through the door. He's been onto him. He's been onto him about that. So there's still rough around his edges, but I think he could play. And I feel, you know, whether you believe in Pepe or not, just as an Arsenal fan looking at this side and you say, all right, cool, Arteta, you can have your opinion. Don't play Pepe. But the man that's playing in his spot has to justify. If Willian continued how he was against Fulham, we're not talking about Pepe within reason. You know, we're not displaying it. The reality is we're speaking about because he's not doing his job. And it's the same way. I'm not saying you should have played Ozil. I'm saying you should have brought someone in. But it's the same way if you don't play Ozil and you don't bring no one in, and I'm not seeing a contingency plan on the field. So there's creativity in abundance. So I'm not speaking about it. We're on to you. You know, I don't care who leaves this club, who is frozen out and all of these things, provided whatever they make up in this side or whatever skill set they have, I'm seeing it on the field. All the inevitable questions come. For me, I get it. It is a headache for a manager because Willian is consistently average. Pepe is extremely hot and cold. At this moment in time, I'd rather do the hot and cold thing because I don't see what Willian's bringing to the table. You know, goals and assists, Willian's never been prolific in that regards, but he's not, and statistics might show differently, but from what I'm seeing with my eyes, he's not no creative spark. You know, defensively, he's all right. He's been mediocre in recent games. It's not like a thing where he's getting the best out of other players. I don't see what the justification with Willian playing is, in the same way I don't see why Lacazette should be starting on right form. If they pick up form and do what they need to do, of course they should play. That's how the game is. You know, I'd rather play Pepe and persist with Pepe because I think he's going to show more than Willian. And regardless of what you say about Pepe, it's a bit like Ozil, but differently in that I hear what Arteta's saying about opportunities and this and that. But you can't not use a man, you know, playing him 20, 30 minutes. You dash it man in against Man City, a game that our backs are going to be against the wall. Let's be real, people, and expect him to just thrive and hit off. Obviously, you have to take your chances that are given to you. But, you know, what could he? I'm not saying he's going to be Cristiano Ronaldo, but why hasn't he been afforded the run Willian has? Because Willian's been given, he's made 10 appearances, for argument's sake. Let's just say 10 appearances in the league. Willian's been given sufficient minutes to display himself. And I'm not saying Willian's been poor in every game. United, the way I think he was all right. Second half against Sheffield United, he was all right. Apart from the Fulham one, he's not done anything. 10 appearances in all comps, got 2 assists. What's he bringing? I'm not saying Pepe, you know, clearly I think Pepe is a better player than Willian, people. But I'm not, you know, Willian at Pepe FC and these things. I think he's a good player. I want him to hit it off, of course. But even looking at it, regardless of what we're saying about Pepe, you look at the numbers, goals and assists, he's up there, you know. So we're losing our creative sparks and our dangerous men. We're not doing what we need to do in terms of creativity in the middle. That's a problem in its own. Obviously, we're shoehorning a Aubameyang on the left. When it works, we shut up about it. It's not working right now. You know, Lacazette is neither in the form to suggest, all right, cool, you know, we can't mess up Lacazette's thing. He's playing through the middle. He's scoring goals. Pep or Aubameyang, you have to do this thing. So they're just mad imbalances and indifferences. And I sympathize with Arteta. I don't think it's all his fault. But let's be real, there has to be accountability. And to a degree, some of this is his own doing. You can't stand in the rain with no umbrella and cry that I'm wet. Maybe your mum didn't buy you one and you can still be upset, but there's a contingency plan. You ain't got an umbrella, put your shirt over or find a tree to hide over. And that's what I haven't seen from Arteta. Creativity. Like I said, I don't want to keep sounding like a broken record, but creativity was a major issue. Fair enough, last season, you know, priority is just learning how to defend. He's done that. But you knew in the back of your mind, in the medium to long term, you need to start doing some attacking. So I thought pre-season, and I give him courtesy, pre-season was a bit messed and all over the place, people, but I would have thought pre-season, I would have seen some building blocks. Okay, we're not fully creative there, but I'm seeing movement. I'm seeing more gaps opening. Players are being a bit braver. And I've seen it in sparks, as I did last season. Generally, it's not been enough, people. It's not been enough at all. And that's just what I feel. I'm going slightly off topic, so I'm going to look at the Pepe thing in a sec. But I'm seeing a lot of you have a lot of things to say, man. People are, you know, Pepe, Jovino, sad to say. Big Rev saying literally, you know, Subi's on to Willian. You know, Pepe's getting a lot of love. Howie, bro, I didn't want no more Chelsea players after Gallas. You know, Gallas, Lassana Diarra. And to be fair, Lassana Diarra could have been a decent player for us. But Gallas, Lassana Diarra, I've got a lot of admiration for what Czech's given to the game. And he wasn't terrible at Arsenal, but we all have some nightmares. And you obviously see what my man's doing. Louise has been calm, but Louise has done some bookie stuff. And, you know, Willian, I thought at worst, Willian's going to be a rotation problem. I mean, a problem for his teammates in terms of he's a rotation player, and a problem in terms of starting. I would have thought he would have been a good secondary player to bring the best out in other players. I thought he would have at least created stuff, and I'd be questioning his decision making in that regards. But I don't really see that, and I want Willian to prove me wrong in that regards. AB Xhaka ain't got nothing to do with this right now, but I hear you, bro. How can he not play Willian? How can he not play over Willian? I don't know, my dude. Bro, Levi, I can't lie. That's a good point. I was hearing all of that as well. You know, he's worked with Sterling, he's worked with Sane. Maybe he's not seeing the same characteristics, but I would have thought there'd be a wide man excelling. To be fair, you know, Saka goes from strength to strength. I'm not going to say Arteta didn't fancy Martinelli, because I think he does and whatnot. But at the same time, Martinelli weren't exactly playing on a regular basis prior to his injury. That's it as well, man. I don't see much rotation. To be fair, we haven't signed that too many players, my guy, over 30. I personally don't mind the occasional 30-year-old, to be fair with you. And you look at it, you know, fair enough, Torreira and Guendouzi didn't work, but you've got them. You know, Leno was of the right age when he signed, regardless what we say about him. You know, Gabriel, Tierney, you know, technically Maitland-Niles new deal. You know, there's youth around the squad still. Martinelli, Saka's been brought through. You know, Nelson's there already. Pepe's only 25, my age. So, you know, it's not exactly true, but I hear you, my guy. But I'm not one of these ageist guys. I'm not saying you are, but I just feel football fans in general, once they hear 30, they're like, like it's not that deep, really and truly. Obviously, you can't have a bunch of kids, you can't have a bunch of pensioners. You need balance. In short, man, come on. But good shout, man. You know, he needs a run of games. You know, he does need to fix up. For me, end product. You know, you've played enough games. You've seen what the Premier League is. You know the scrutiny you're facing. I need you to play like you're, you know, you might never justify your price tag, but you're going to give every fiber. And I feel mentally there's a lot of maturity Pepe needs to come from. I think he needs to be a bit more demanding of himself. I think he needs to be a bit more in the game consistently. I think he needs to get his head up and just decision making. Sometimes he's taking man on when he needs to pass. Sometimes he's passed when he can take man on. He's shooting when he don't need to. He's not shooting when he should. There's little things, and I'd rather persist with the Pepe's. I know he's not the same age, but the Sakas, the Martinellis, the occasional mistake Gabriel is going to make in the future. You know, that underhit pass we've seen, as great as he's been this season, Gabriel's been showing that a minute now, and there's going to be a second where that's going to result in a goal. I'm prepared to persist with these, man. To a degree, Joe Willock and Eddie, you know, I'm prepared to persist with guys I can at least see learning from it than serial offenders, repeat offenders, you know, serial guys in that regard. Exactly like that. I think Pepe is going to get rubbed out, but it is what it is. I think that's harsh. I think Willian can be used in a rotation. I think Willian off the subs bench, that's calm. Man said we got a fetish for getting bumped by Chelsea. We love it, man. 5 million plus galas for Cole, you know. Mad thing. I wouldn't say no. Arteta's not on fraud watch, but he's on not fraud watch, but he's on tactics watch. We need to see what you're doing. Like you're on. If it was in a job and we did a progress check, you're still doing well, but we have to monitor you a bit more. It's that simple. And obviously, to be fair, Partey's not the oldest as well. Just to go back to the 23s point, I mean the under 30s point. What do I make of Saliba's performance? The review of that game soon land. I don't want to ruin it for you guys. I don't want to ruin it. Bro, it's a mad thing, innit? It's a mad thing. Big up yourselves. Come on. Ha, Marcus, come a long way from them Arsenal merch. Trust me, we've been a long way. I know you remember the infamous blue jacket, which I've thrown away now, but I should have hung that up, man. That was memorabilia. Sorry, people, man. You know I need a green tea and honey. Some say it's unprofessional. The real ones out there understand I'm a human being. Big Ribs, I love that you love the content. It means a lot that I'm here talking about football and I'm giving you something. What is this? Would you trade Pepe or Laka for another wing or a striker? Not quite sure who, or would you just sell? It all depends. If a madness became available on the market and this reality where we might have to entertain selling Pepe to bring in this madman, then of course I'm going to listen. But I would say out of the two, not that I feel Lacazette is going to bring the biggest of transfer fees. Like I actually genuinely feel you'll be lucky to get 35, 40 million for Lacazette. I think the club might just let him run down his deal, by which he'd be what, 31 or such. I'd probably be inclined to sell Lacazette, and probably for me, I would go for a striker because I would like to see another striker in this club. I still think whether it's a plan B, whether it's someone that can play with Aubameyang, whether it's someone that can play ahead of Aubameyang, I think people in football underestimate having a striker in your side. You look at Man United, you know, they sold Lukaku and they brought in Ighalo. Fair enough, Ighalo hasn't made no headlines, but they need it for as good as Greenwood, Martial, and Rashford are. None of them are really out and out forwards. Greenwood might be in time. You need someone that can be a physical presence and whatnot. You know, Giroud last season showed his quality when he was given an opportunity. When Tammy Abraham weren't hitting it, Tammy Abraham was hitting it for them as well. So you need other people to help you out, especially if you ain't got like an Mbappe, a Messi, a Neymar. These guys that are, you know, you players. Fair enough, they're not strikers, but they're going to score a hell of a lot of goals. United even brought in Cavani and things like that. So I think we need a plan B striker in the side to give us different options and whatnot. I would like another winger, but I feel winger is kind of congested right now, really and truly. So winger is a case of, again, if a super player becomes available, someone evidently better than what we have, someone which, you know, we can't turn down, I'll do that for. AFC Edmonton's in the building. Make sure you subscribe to my football club, people. Well, not my football club. The football club I'm captain of, and you know, my good friend Arnold does. So make sure you hit up their channel, hit up the subscribes, and like he said, let's get this to 100 likes, man. Come on. I don't think we're gonna get Szoboszlai, my guy. I think he's gonna go to Leipzig, but it is what it is. Have AFTV talk to you about coming on more often? No, my guy. Get on to Robbie if you want to see that. Big up Uncle Robbie because he freed me. You know, in the same way Ozil needs to be freed up. But I've been delaying for a minute, people. Big up everybody locked in. Let's speak about this Pepe business now. Pepe's given an interview and he said, he said he wants more minutes at Arsenal to smile again. He said, my goal is to play more, to have a little more playing time. A player who plays happy for me, I would like to play a little more to find the smile again. He, in brackets, Mikel Arteta, wants me to be 100% focused during the 90 minutes of the match. Afterwards, I see during training that I'll be a substitute the following weekend. But the coach speaks to me. He also has assistants who are there for that. But it is frustrating for any player to be on the bench. A super sub role, the coach makes his choices. It's up to me to show him that I don't have that role. And it's a good professional response from Pepe. Of course, it's distraughting to hear, you know, he needs his smile back. And, I get the logic Arteta's trying to come with. If he's trying to starve Pepe of so much football so that when he plays, that friction is met with grabbing the opportunity, I get it. But I just don't think he fancies him. Like he said, it's the manager's choice. I think it comes down to, tactically, you're more likely to get a response from Willian. I think he probably gives less of a headache. I think Willian probably requires less of a talking to tactically than Pepe during the game. As much as I feel Pepe, people get onto Pepe's body language. What about Williams? Williams isn't exactly screaming anything. Not that I'm someone to harp on about that sort of stuff, people. It's difficult. It's the manager's decision. It's the same way that it's feeling a bit like Jose Mourinho and Ndombele. It's like, we don't care that this is a record signing. I just don't fancy you. Last season, he was doing his thing eventually under Arteta, and I thought, okay, cool. It's that logic he kind of got with Maitland-Niles and all of these players in that he kind of kicks them up the backside and he makes them sort of play. Pepe ain't been given a chance. I don't know what's happened between the tail end of last season, in which that was probably Pepe's strongest sort of segment as an Arsenal player, between the start of this season, but something has got to change. Forgive me if I'm wrong, Pepe could have had a minor injury at the start of the season, but he's been subjected to playing in the Europa League. And his numbers are better as well. Like even in the minutes Pepe has had, not to praise him, there's been times we've needed a goal or something, and he's done the thing. Like he come off the bench against Sheffield United. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Did he not do the business? I don't get why. If William was doing his thing, this ain't a problem. But I would rather play against. If I'm a fullback, I'd rather want to play against Pepe. You know, we need unpredictability. You know, in our side right now, we're incredibly predictable. You know, we are incredibly sideways, relying on individual brilliance. We might look solid defensively and whatnot at a push, but we all know we're very predictable. At least Pepe can do that. To a degree, you've got to allow him to play. I do think to a degree Pepe went through a culture shock, like most players go through, and they didn't comprehend just how much you have to be at in this league mentally and things. And I think it's got through to him. You even heard Pepe's dad, the minute he signed for this club, say Pepe needs to be a bit more professional. Not that he doesn't take it seriously, but he's got to live and breathe and die for football. And I think Pepe's got to be given the opportunity, and you know, like there's just no contingency plan. Like, who can say they're playing better than Pepe right now? Not that anyone's playing well. Only Bukayo Saka. I know he had a tough game on the weekend, but he's the only one that can say he's excelling. You know, Aubameyang can't. You know, as great as Aubameyang is, and for me, we all know he goes through the middle. But it is true. You know, he doesn't want to be a super sub. It's down to him to prove him wrong. But You know, you've got to be given an opportunity. I just want Pepe to be given 2, 3, 4 games. And if he plays dead, you know, you have to sit down. That's what I wanted to see from our wide options. Again, I'm not Willian's biggest fan. I'm not Pepe's biggest fan. But I thought, all right, cool. Only 2 men can play on the flanks. And you've got a Aubameyang who should be playing through the middle, complicating things now, you know. So you've got Aubameyang complicating things. You had Martinelli in the mix before this injury. Bukayo Saka's emergence. You know, you had Reece Nelson in and about. You obviously have Pepe and Willian. You've got bare man fighting for a spot. Even if we could even add 2 extra bodies because of the way Arteta sees Aubameyang out wide. That's an extra body. And obviously, if Lacazette's in form, things get complicated. Aubameyang gets moved over here. Arguably, there's only 1 spot left, you know, because if Lacazette's banging in scoring goals, he's playing. Aubameyang's doing it from out wide. You know, Arteta is going to be on that. It's not broke, let me not fix it. That's 2, man. So there's only 1 option. And I think he sees Willian as somehow he complements them, man, there. But, you know, so I thought, you know, people would take their chances. If you don't play well, you lose your spot, you go again. But I haven't really seen that. And as much as I defend Arteta, I think it's a bit of favourites. I don't think he fancies him. Like I said, we're not creating mad stuff centrally, so people are always going to speak about Ozil because you didn't bring a next man in. We're not doing what we need to do out wide, so man are going to look at Williams' 3-year deal and stuff like that, and it's going to be a bit shaky. I think it's Arteta's entitled to use his team in the best way, but again, like I said, and my only point is, if you're going to do them things, make sure there's a contingency plan, and I don't see it. Apologies, people. There's been a super chat. Strip Bearer said, feel sorry for Arsenal fans, really do, but I'm conflicted as a Chelsea fan too. Thank you for your $5, my guy. And it means a lot that you're a Chelsea fan and you're here. You know, you're probably here to laugh at our pain, but it is what it is. Nonetheless, thank you for your $5. Grab a Mackie D's with that. But back to the Pepe thing. As I said, I just want other man to show it. And for me, Pepe is the most dangerous winger you can have in this side. If Aubameyang scoring goals, of course, him. You know, Saka is a problem. Martinelli's a bad boy. But, you know, Pepe can be a player for us. He's unpredictable. It's just about finding balance. You know, give Pepe a run. If he doesn't show what he needs to show, then you can say, listen, I told you so. And for me, again, the main point is just why did he get frozen out? I don't want to go off topic, people, but forgive me for a sec, but it's bugging me because I want to try and preach this point to you. So let me go on transfer mark. You know, they bring up all the appearances man have made and all of these things. And again, I'm not saying Pepe's been perfect. I told you, look, when he signed, you know, the 72 million price tag, he's going to live or die by that. But it's not going to be a Mo Salah, a Mane, a Cristiano Ronaldo sort of thing, people. It's not. He's not that guy. He's not finished developing. I'm not saying he shouldn't have produced more. Looking at his numbers for Arsenal are meaty. Let's not beat it around the bush, bros. We spent 72 million. He's got 12 assists and 11 goals. Of course, he scored in some big games for us, but it's not been good enough. He's only made 38 Premier League appearances so far. He's got 6 goals, 6 assists. So he's had a goal contribution to 12. You know, in Liga, he wasn't exactly the most prolific. He's still developing. He made 107 appearances, grabbing 17 assists and 38 goals. But if we look, as they say, the devil is in the details, people. We all know he's been subjected to primarily Europa League starts. And ironically, I don't understand Arteta. Again, he's entitled to use his players, and if he felt Pepe could do a job, but you freeze him out, you don't play him in such games, and then you play him against City, against a team, you know, no fan or no tactician should know better than you because you spent time in and amongst that dressing room. You play him for that, and you know, obviously, he has to take his chance. And if he was media in that game or you feel he weren't at it, he has to take responsibility. But at the same time, you know, people underestimate, you know, building up rhythm, playing and things. Look at Ross Barkley. He's got a little bit of rhythm going from at Villa and he's playing quite well. Look at Danny Ings. Danny Ings had injuries and weren't playing consistently. No one was rating Danny Ings like that at Liverpool. I wasn't. I thought he was a decent player, but I wasn't taking him in like that. The one I remember from Southampton and I remember Burnley. He gets a run of form. He gets a bit of self-belief. Look at him now. He's instantly, you know, that 20 million they paid for him. It's a joke, you know. People probably, like I said, people are looking at Plan B strikers. I do think Danny Ings, you know, Spurs tried to grab him before, obviously, Southampton said no. But let's look, going back to Pepe, you know, in the league this season, he's made 7 appearances, getting 1 goal. He's played 227 minutes. In Europa League, he's played 242. In the EFL Cup, he's played 180. And let's be real, sometimes in these starts, he's had the minimal starts. He's not excelled all the time. Like, I think against Leicester, we needed to wake up a bit, or was it whoever it was before in the EFL? But he has had good games. You know, Europa League, just for even more statistics, you know, he got 90 against Rapid Vienna, 62 against Dundalk, and 90 against Molde. In the Premier, he weren't in the squad for the Community Shield. In the EFL trophy, he got 90 minutes and plus whatever happened against, obviously added on time, not that there was extra time, against Liverpool and Leicester. Premier League, he didn't play against United. He got 25 minutes against Villa, where obviously him and Eddie Nketiah look better than Willian and Lacazette off the bench in their minutes. Against Leicester, again, 25 minutes in that defeat. You know, I don't get it, man. Against City, where you know the whole team was poor, we got smoked. We lost, but it was only a 1-0 defeat, but we didn't offer much. He got 83 minutes. You know, Sheffield United, he came off the bench and got 32. Against Liverpool, he had 22. Against West Ham, he had 26. Against Fulham, he had 14. Now, I'm sure he was injured at the start of the season. Like I said, I could be wrong, and I'm not always going to get onto Arteta. But what do you expect a man to do with this, really and truly? This is dead. I get it. You have to affect games in the minutes you get, regardless, people. And sometimes he hasn't been well. But could you excel? Now let's look at last season, people, real quickly. Look, if we go back to 1920, and again, it wasn't all Arteta. So I'm going to try and scroll down in the Premier League too. I believe Arteta took charge. His first game was Brighton, Bournemouth away, people. Forgive me if I'm wrong. He was in charge and on the bench for the Everton game where Smith Rowe started. But I think he was in the dugout for Bournemouth away. I could be wrong, people. Forgive me. But against Bournemouth, he got 8 minutes. Then he got 4 minutes against Chelsea. The game he scored against United at home, you saw he got 62 minutes. That was a good game. You know, he got 90 against Palace. He got 90 against Sheffield United at home. He got 81 against Chelsea. Mixed success in all these games, admittedly. I think he was quite... I remember being at the Emirates for this game. Sorry, people. He's in between Chelsea and Arsenal. Chelsea and Newcastle at home. Chelsea away and Newcastle at home. He was on the bench against Burnley and didn't play away. Against Newcastle, where he played quite well in the 4-0 victory. I remember that at the Emirates. He got 2 lovely assists and he got on the score sheet. He also got an assist the following week where he also got 90 minutes, 2 weeks in a row, including the Everton game. He got 69 against West Ham. And obviously, you can take man off and things. He's not Ronaldo and that, but he got 69. Brighton away where we lost, he got 87. I'm sure he scored in that game. He scored a cracker, which he did. 64 against Southampton. He got 8 against Norwich. He was injured against Wolves. He was on the bench for the Leicester draw. He came back in the defeat to Spurs and got 70. You know, he got 90 against Liverpool, where he played quite well at home. He got 30 against Aston Villa in that defeat, and he got 72 against Watford. So he's played significantly better minutes. And FA Cup is really where he had his highlights. And you know, from our first game in the FA Cup against Leeds, he got 90. He got 69 against Bournemouth. He didn't play against Portsmouth. He got 90 against Sheffield United away. You know, he excelled in the 72 minutes he got at City, and he got 90 against Chelsea, and he got an assist in both of those games. So, like I said, you compare those minutes last season to this season, what has happened? If he doesn't feel that he's given him something, he's entitled to not use Pepe. But that's where I've got to see a contingency plan. Willian's not doing the job. So can you throw a Nelson in there? If Nelson's not doing the job, you revitalize it. Or can you switch up things? Again, you do the business. These things are not spoken of. And again, I'm not doing, like I said, I'm not trying to lead no witch hunt or anything like that. But if we just look at Willian's minutes, people, like I said, he's made 10 appearances. I knew that off by heart. And he got 2 assists. 2 were against Fulham. To be fair, he should have had 3 assists against Fulham, but 1 got chalked off. Compared to the 200 odd Pepe had, my man Willian has had 518 minutes across the Premier League. In Europa, 92. And EFL, he's played a young 18. You know, if you want to get into further minutes, against Molde in the Europa League, he got 64. Against Dundalk, he got 28. In the league, 76. Not that even Willian ain't completed 90 minutes too tough, but he's got significantly better minutes. The league, his best game against Fulham, you know, standing ovation thing, 76 minutes. The following weekend against West Ham, where again the warning signs were there. Willian was iffy in that game. He got 64. Against Liverpool, he got 68. Against Sheffield United, he got 90. Against Manchester City away from home, he got 69. Man United away, he got 86, where to be fair, you know, it was a good team performance. And he got 65 minutes against Aston Villa. So again, people, who is more likely to build up better form if they get these minutes? Who's had more of an opportunity? Clearly, Willian. Willian should be doing a lot more. I'm not saying he should have 10 goals, 10 assists and all of these things. I'd love him to, but he's not been that player. I'm not one who necessarily reads into the assists and stuff, because obviously you want numbers are numbers, in it. But if Willian's form was much better and he was, you know, involved and he was a creative spark and all of these things, I'd say the statistics aren't really telling the whole story. But statistically, he's not doing the business on the field. Evidently, with our eyes, he's not doing the business. So it's a bit of a double whammy. And if you don't, again, it's not Pepe or Willian. You know, show me a next thing. Saka can move over there. You know, You know, for me, I've been saying it should be Saka, Pepe, and Aubameyang through the middle. But can Nelson come into the equation? Can you do something else? You know, it's down to the manager, and he's known the squad he's going to have at his disposal. So I don't know what to say, people. I really don't. But you know, it's not, like I said, it's not a witch hunt thing. It's not Willian versus Pepe and all of these sort of things. But it is what it is. He should, and that's where I agree. I agree. That's where Pepe has to take responsibility. But at the same time, you're not going to get anything close or be able to show us you can get that if you're getting 20 minutes one week, 10 minutes this week, 5 minutes the other. It's not sustainable. It's not going to happen, man. It's not going to happen. Make sure you're hitting the like button, people. Come on. Someone said I'm helping them get through their working from home. Come on, my guy. Anything to make your shift fly through, man. You lot make the days go quicker and whatnot, man. Lacazette isn't the biggest of goal scorers himself. Just change the squad. Aubameyang through the middle and play the wingers. You know, that's what we should have. We should be able to play one striker and two wingers, have formations where it's Aubameyang and Lacazette in a variety of ways. You know, Lacazette ain't doing the business. He starts scoring. He does what it is. He glitched. Tierney's my guy, and I pretended I couldn't see it, but he got glitched. And I think even he needs to go back to left back, man. You know, for me, I said not that I know more than Arteta, and everyone's a genius in hindsight, but I said you bring in David Luiz, you put Tierney over there, and I think it's a different story sort of thing. Not that we'd win, but I'm not that I should be talking about playmaking from a centre half, but we all know, apologies, one of the only sort of players that's going to try and pass the ball forward for all his faults is David Luiz, people. Lo and behold, we didn't have that. Yes, Pepe is on international break. Come on, let's get the likes up. We're on 110. Can we get better than that? Leroy Sané. I mean, Leroy Sané had started excelling and starting, so I'd love to hope so. I hope so, but you know, I think Arteta rated Leroy Sané, and I think he must rate Pepe because he used him. But you know, if I look at it, when he first came in, he had to use who he had to use because there was no market. If I look at it, I'm not saying he wanted Willian and whatnot necessarily, but you know, he's got a man in. Is Willian more of his man? And now that he's been given a transfer thing or anything close to a window, Willian is more his man. In the same way, he's eliminated those who he used him towards. Well, he used him last season before the break, and now he's not got rid. I don't really see anything to do with it. I wouldn't say that, to be fair with you, but you know, Maitland now he has to ask himself a question: is he going to play regular football? And you know, he always is brought in for big games. Is he necessarily seen as the first choice right back in the back four? I don't know. Based on how Bellerin's played, you know, I can't understand how Maitland can't get a look in that right back, man. But again, I can't understand a lot of things Arteta's doing for as much as I like him, man. So yeah, man. We've got another. I would probably entertain selling Lacazette, to be fair with you, but it is what it is. Now, moving away from Pepe, people, let's speak about Jude Bellingham. Let me get a juice before we get on to Jude Bellingham and Tony Adams. Good old Highlands and Ribena. But yeah, let's go on to Jude Bellingham and Tony Adams. And you lot know me, people. I'm Jude Bellingham FC. I'm so happy to see him in the England side. He's 17. Would he have been called up if it wasn't any injuries? I don't know. But I think Jude Bellingham's one of those that should be on the radar, along with potentially Angel Gomez, based on how he started. I'm not saying Marcus Edwards has lit the world alight, but he's someone you've got to be monitoring. You know, obviously the Bukayo Sakas, the Foldens, the Greenwoods. You know, for me, Noni Madueke, obviously at PSV, Yunus Musa, he's been called up to the American side, but he's of English descent, obviously, and allowed to play for us. He's allowed to play for us. These are people you've got. Jamal Musiala at Bayern Munich. These are people you've got to have your mark on. And for me, I don't see no reason why Jude Bellingham can't go to the next World Cup. Hopefully he goes to the Euros. I don't think he'll run on him, but it is what it is. Tony Adams is basically, in a long story short, before I read the article and you make of what you want for yourself, said that, long story short, Arteta coming into the coming into this club as why is the reason we didn't pursue Jude Bellingham, because he didn't know about this player and the rest of it. Now, again, the main thing for me is there's no actual proof and there's no substance. Like, it's easy for him to say that. Like, again, Tony Adams must know Steve Marrow. He must have told him something. But I'm not seeing any specifics like Bellingham's agent, this, that, and the other, medical, boom, 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 this, that, and the third. I'm just seeing. I'm just seeing talk. I can only imagine, along with Arsenal and probably every team, top team in the Premier League or every team in the league, you was monitoring Jude Bellingham purely because he's a 16-year-old at the time, playing week in, week out in the Championship for Birmingham and playing quite well. In the same way, they're monitoring him now. If they didn't know about him, he's a 17-year-old playing or starting to play week in, week out at Dortmund. You know, give him 2 years, you'll be crazy. And for me, probably off the top of my head, he's probably made what, 60 career appearances together with Dortmund and Birmingham combined, people. Yeah, something like that. It's a bit weird that his last name begins with a B. He's played for 2 teams that begin with a B as well. Football's crazy, isn't it? But you know, I've always said you've got to go somewhere ideally or be somewhere you can try and, for a young player, you have to try and get 100 games under your belt. Try and get 100 games. Try and get 100 games. Try and get 100 games. And he's close to doing that, you know. So he's developed in the right way. Where is he going to be in 18 months? Where is he going to be? I'd say by 20, something scary. I hope Arsenal are monitoring him. Probably United, City, and them teams there are going to get him, Liverpool and that. But as Ham said, you know, it's not, again, I can only imagine, you know, he knew the previous youth recruitment and people that worked in that have now departed. So they might have told him a couple of stuff and he can't really stitch them up and say, he told me what. There is some of that. He must be in contact with his old pals. But like you said, Ham, there's no real evidence. There's no substance to this beyond just claiming that. And we all know, it's easy to say all of these sort of things, especially with Arsenal. It's easy to say Arsenal tried for this guy, Arsenal tried for that guy. But Tony Adams himself said Tony Adams has claimed Arsenal missed out on signing Jude Bellingham from Birmingham City because the Premier League club's sporting director didn't know anything about the midfielder. But Adams says Arsenal had agreed to sign the teenager last year before the arrival of Edu, as sporting director scuppered the potential transfer. He said, I think it got lost this one in transition of the chief scout Steve Marrow at Arsenal going out. He was spotted very early on, not by me, but by Arsenal recruitment office. The chief scout was absolutely bowled over by him and the great prospect that he is. He had more or less done the deal, but at that moment, the new sporting director came in from Brazil and had no European experience and no UK experience. I think it got lost in transition. Edu didn't know anything about this player. Again, Edu might not have known anything, but I can't verify that to have any clue about what that legitimately is. Again, a deal was agreed. So I said, where was the talk of agents? Why is Tony Adams, again, if people, I'm not going to say more credible because that's more disrespect, that's kind of disrespectful, but you know, where are all the other agents and stuff? You know, I've seen that Arsenal have been interested in Jude Bellingham, but why is Tony Adams the one saying this now? Why wasn't the minute he signed for England, you know, minute he signed for Dortmund, sorry, or the minute he signed for Dortmund, why wasn't this said? Why is it now he's got an England call up? This is funny. Come out. Was this going to come out a week before? Like I said, for me, there's no substance. If there is a tiny bit of substance to this, of course, I'm devastated because Jude Bellingham is going to be a hallmark of English football. I firmly think he's going to be a superb player in the future. I think he's a good player right now. I'd love to interview him one day, but I think that's a dream. And then, man, they're Premier League now. But yeah, man, like I said, crucially for me, there's no evidence to support the claim. So it don't really make sense to me. But big up Tony Adams regardless. I want to see Maitland-Niles over him as well. I've almost died there. I feel it as well, Mohammed. The players should have stepped up and the players have got to take the onus. You know, it's in the same way when Arteta did first come. Do you remember the game against Chelsea and United, or the games against Chelsea and United? Arteta set us up very well. There was a balance between going forward and defending. You know, we even took the lead against Chelsea and then the boys threw it away. They threw it away, and we could have thrown it away against United, but the boys threw it away against Chelsea in the last 15 minutes. I think Tammy Abraham scored, and either Azpilicueta or Jorginho, one of them might have scored. I could be wrong. You know, you can't account for them. He can tell you everything, but you're the ones that have got to walk the walk. As much as I feel, well, obviously what I've said throughout this stream about Willian and Pepe and what we know about Ozil and the lack of creativity and the rest of it, the players have got to fix up because they do a lot of talking off their own behalf, their own backs. You know, they're the ones playing. They've got a sense in games. Okay, this team is sitting back, like against Leicester and Sheffield. I've probably got to force things. I've got to try that pass. We can't keep going sideways. Players have got to be their own problem solvers. A manager is meant to just be that reassuring voice, that one collective person that you should listen to that as you're on your mission trying to get 3 points. But it is what it is, man. It is what it is. It really is what it is. What are you telling me, my guy? Of course, Dave Martin, of course, Aubameyang didn't sign no deal to play left wing. I think he respects the manager's decisions, and whatever the manager does, he does. It is what it is, but I don't think he signed to play left wing. And obviously, I'm not saying naturally Aubameyang is declining. What I mean by that is he's not going to stop scoring goals. Obviously, as you get on a bit, no matter how, Aubameyang's probably got an additional more years than most 31-year-olds. But what I mean by that is time catches up with everybody. How Milner's still a workhorse, but how Milner plays to how he did when he's 16 is different. How the Messi that bust through at 16 to the Messi now is different. The Ronaldo from, even he evolved a couple of times at Madrid, he developed at United, he's evolved, his game changes. With that, we probably have to consider that Aubameyang's game is going to change. I don't think the pace is going to go, but, we've got to, he might have to start playing him a different way as he naturally gets on a bit. And for me, we're in Lacazette's, for the fact of Aubameyang is 31, signed a deal now, I know he can score goals out wide, but again, Aubameyang is here for the short to medium term. What we do now with him can set us up for what we do when, Martinelli and Saka and the rest of these young players are middle-aged to whatever, so let's not waste time. Play him through the middle. I'm not some games he might have to play on the flanks, and if Lacazette or Lacazette or Martinelli, they're scoring mad goals out wide. I know Martinelli can play left wing, but let's just say Eddie and Lacazette, better yet, are scoring goals through the middle, and to achieve balance, Aubameyang's still scoring and we've put him on the left. I don't mind that. But for me, play Aubameyang through the middle right now. He's not going to be here that long. He's got 3 years. Let's not complicate things. Let's not waste time. We've given him a big deal. So it's our investment, and we owe it to ourselves to use him correctly and use him rightly. Why waste time, really and truly? You're capping, my guy. Gabriel could, Aubameyang could, regardless of the form. Let's stop the capping. Partey could. I'm not Tierney probably can as well. I'm not going to go further forward. Credit to Aston Villa, but let's not cap, man. We'll have to see, man. I wouldn't say it's a case of shouting too many instructions. And I think maybe the way he sets us up doesn't allow players to fully express themselves. But again, players have to be brave. Whenever I talk about signing players, I always say things as such the lines of, I need them to be consistent for obvious reasons. I need them to be competent for obvious reasons. You can be a good defender. I mean, if you can't be a competent defender, if you can't actually defend, how can you be a good defender? If you can't be consistent, there's no point being good either weekend. But for me, you've got to be confident. And I say confident because if you're playing for a Premier League club, things go against you, especially when the fans are on your back, the papers. You've got to have that belief to say, yo, listen, I'm still certified. I can do things. And you've also got to have that confidence for when it's not going right. We're not in the stadium right now, but typically you see us, you can feel the nervousness of the fans, the moans and the groans. You've still got to be able to take the game by the balls and try things and make a difference. So I'd say to a degree to the players, they've got to be thingy, man. They've got to be mentally stronger than that, really and truly, and for want of better terms, because in today's day and age where learning about mental health and things like that is at its strongest. I don't want to sound like I'm using outdated terms. I do trust the process, but at the same time, I don't blindly trust a process. I don't know what this process is. I don't know what it leads to. My thought is, I think Arteta's the man to take this forward until he shows me even more reason to have cause for concern. That doesn't mean when we lose in the fashion we do against Villa, I'm just going to scream, trust the process. Man, I need to know what process we're going into. Praise and critique fairly. Big up Ahmed. He's one of my moderators, even though he's a United fan. Like he said, smash the like buttons. We should be on 300. I don't know where we are now. Big up to the 300 odd of you in here right now as well. So we've spoken about Bellingham. I guess we should kind of, in fact, finally on that, people, on that, people, he said, I actually forgot the second part of it. He said, unfortunately, the chief scout had the deal kind of done. We missed that one. Unfortunately, they're the type of players we need to get hold of at Arsenal if we're going to develop and go forward. These kind of players we need to, I already said that. He already said, I think I already said that, but I'm going to say it again. These kind of players we need to tie up and get them to Arsenal and build a phenomenal league team. He's a great talent, but unfortunately, he's not joined the right club. I'm not too sure he's not joined the right club in Borussia Dortmund to develop and do what he needs to do, really and truly. And he also said they've got rid of some of the best scouts in the world, Franny, which is Francis Cahigio, and Steve Marrow. Willian has come into the team and has had the same agent as the sporting director. I think that's sometimes a conflict of interest. And it's funny how football works, because I don't disagree with the last comment. But let's just say Willian was banging. He was getting 10 goals and assists. Ifs and buts, we can't deal with them. The facts are he's not. But let's just say he was. Would we say it's a conflict of interest? Which, once again, I do think it is that case, where people are helping their friends. Or would we say, oh, it's a smart one. He's utilized the agent's contacts and stuff like that. And we've got a player in here. So it's interesting, depending. That's what I keep saying. Football's a fickle game. As fickle as it is, if William was doing the business, I'm not sitting here live streaming about this right now. We're not saying what you lot are saying in the comments, so you get the point. And maybe it's Tony Adams trying to get a bit of credibility there. Not that he needs any, because, he's been called up to the England squad, the young Jude Bellingham. And now coincidentally, Arsenal almost went for him and we missed out. I don't mind it because it makes something to talk about, but it is what it is. Apologies, people. The tea was getting cold, so I thought let me back it. And now my throat is dry, so a man said lean. Someone said this is lean. This is Ribena, man. It's looking like a mad thing in there, and I'm playing around with the green screen. But it is what it is. So that's Jude and Pepe off the books, people. I guess we now have to speak about the transfers and things like that. And it depends where you read and who you read. Now, some reports I read, or the majority of emerging reports since I've started this live stream, have been saying Leipzig are closing in on a January transfer of Szoboszlai. And obviously he'll follow through a lot of players that do that sort of route. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but didn't Karim Akinyemi do that? Or is he still at Salzburg? Either way, he's a player we should be looking at as well, a young striker. And I think we were linked with him prior. But a lot of players go through that. And, Leipzig are building a good team. They've got Dani Almo. If they get Szoboszlai, they've got him. They've previously sold Naby Keita. They've sold Haaland as well. He's sold Haaland as well. He's gone to Thingy. Well, he didn't go to Leipzig. He went to... Did he go to Leipzig? He went straight to Salzburg, to Dortmund, Highland. But you get the point. I could be wrong on that. You get the point. Salzburg, they sell players on. Then when Leipzig have an allegiance, it makes sense. It seems like the natural progression of Szoboszlai to go to Germany, to follow what the two clubs have, to go to the Bundesliga, assert yourself. And then maybe after a season or two, you move to a Dortmund, or you move to a Bayern Munich, or, some other bigger team start circling. Of course, I would love him at Arsenal, but that's what he said. And it would make sense because coincidentally, whether Salzburg or Leipzig have a deal or not, this was a man who was going to go to AC Milan in the summer, allegedly. This is a man who every performance he puts in the Champions League is getting growing admirers. It makes sense to get this deal done sooner rather than later. And obviously, when you consider his agent talk about how Arsenal, this and that, and the previous points I've just said, you can see why, coincidentally, now there seems to be a push to get that one over the line. Apparently, he was close to going AC Milan in the summer. Arsenal have been interested. And if you read other reports today as well, creating more hysteria, apparently we've opened talks. We're at the front of the queue, and he's keen on playing in the Premier League and all of these things. For what it's worth, I think we've missed out on our war because, pardon me, at least until the summer, because, pardon me, I'm very gassy. I don't think he leaves in January, and I think we've missed out on this guy because I think he is going to the Bundesliga. So we're going to have to look elsewhere and do something else, people. So depending on where you read, and apparently Napoli are also interested. Moving away from that, though, and there's news on the Mustafi front, or I say news, wording is speculation. As you lot know, allegedly, Arsenal offered Mustafi a new deal. Hopefully it's wrong. And allegedly, apparently, he's rejected it, which between the two, I actually understand Mustafi doing it, accepting it and rejecting it. But I can't, my head is still trying. I don't know which one is madder out of the two things I just said. As you know, his contract is running out, and from January, he'll be able to talk to teams for free. And apparently, people, according to Sport 1, Eintracht Frankfurt are one of the main contenders to sign Mustafi on a free transfer next summer. And apparently, his father said nothing is ruled out. He felt very comfortable in Italy and Spain. He never played in Germany. That could be an option. Then he would have played in the top 4 leagues. And that's what I said in a previous video. He's a German international. He's actually a German World Cup winner. And it's interesting that a German World Cup winner has never played in the German league. It's crazy. It shows the beauty of the sport. Obviously, he's played in England. Well, he didn't make an senior appearance, forgive me if I'm wrong, for Everton, I believe. But he's obviously played for Arsenal, experienced London, and done what he's needed to do. He's obviously played in Valencia, and that's where he built his name up. He's obviously previously played in Italy, Sampdoria. It all depends what Mustafi wants to do, because I've been saying it, Mustafi should if it's down to Mustafi why it hasn't worked out, he just hasn't been the centre half we thought we were signing. It hasn't worked out. You should be the partner for Gabriel. You know, we should be saying Gabriel is the long lost guy for you. You know, looking at ages and whatnot, Mustafi's like 27, 28. He should be our prime defender, our best defender, a player that we're having sleepless nights, similar to Bukayo Saka and Aubameyang when discussing their contracts. Instead, I'm pretty sure there's a couple of fans that, you know, are not going to cry tears, to put it nicely, if he departs this club, rightly so, sort of thing. He hasn't been the guy. His next move is important. Whatever we say about him, he's won a number of FA Cups here now. He's had a good time at Arsenal. He's made friends and all of these things. He's not playing. The next move is significant because it's probably his last big move in his career, especially contractually, and maybe being a free agent makes you get a better signing on fee and all of these sort of things. In terms of playing time, you'd imagine you want to, I wouldn't say to be a last club, but be the next 3-4 years of your life, whatever club this is. And, he's got a young family. Does he return to Italy and do the Italian thing? Does he return to Spain? Does he return to his homeland in Germany? Does he join another Premier League team? He's got a lot to consider, people. And clearly his dad's not going to rule anything out because nothing's confirmed. For Arsenal, we probably aren't going to get a transfer fee. I hope we can sell him in January, personally, people. I'd like to imagine. I can't imagine in January you'd sell Mustafi and loan out Saliba, unless you're going to register Socrates just in terms of a body. That's another individual who should be leaving the club as well. So it is what it is in that front. I'm not too sure what that is, but I'm looking forward to next season's summer. Not in the sense of bringing in players, but you'd imagine you'd finally get rid of Deadwood, or you should, man, because you'd have Mustafi, technically David Luiz, not that I believe he's quite Deadwood, Socrates, there's Berg, Ozil, technically there's so many contracts, and you'd hope that the people that have contracted until 2022's futures are decided. Like I believe Guendouzi's one, and he played quite well in his first 90 minutes for Hertha Berlin. So there's him. Obviously, we know there's Lacazette. I think there's technically Nketiah. We all know Kolasinac is another one. In an ideal world, we want to move off the books. And speaking of Kolasinac, people, Sports Witness have been speaking about Kolasinac. As you don't know, he's only made one appearance in the Premier League this season. And what? Is that true? Yeah, it was, because he had that terrible miss in the Europa. And apparently he's only featured against West Ham. And he's made 2 appearances. He's made 1 appearance in the league, 2 in the Cup, and 3 in the Europa League, EFL Cup, that is. As you lot know, he was linked with Bayern Leverkusen previously in the summer. He was linked with a whole host of clubs, including Schalke as well. But Sports Blind has said now, courtesy of Sports Witness, have said several German clubs will require turbo transfers in brackets in the winter market, and they'll provide a short update on the possible business Leverkusen could do at the start of 2021. There was a short claim on Mikel Arteta's defender. It is claimed another attempt from Leverkusen to sign Kolasinac in the mid-season window seems possible, and Peter Bowles' side have money to buy in January. So only time will tell whether that's going to be the case. But yeah, man, that's another one you want to get off the wage books. And for me, I don't care what a man is earning, but we've got 350k a week. Ozil not involved in the side. We've got Pepe on the bench, record signing. You've got Kolasinac, second choice left back, 100k. For me, I don't care that these men are being paid this. I'm not pocket watching. I care about resources, wage resources, transfer resources, and I see my club fragmented. So the quicker these people are moved on, or transfer fees are received, or wages and budgets are cut because these lot are moved on, the quicker we can advance. We all know our business is restricted as a direct consequence of failing on the field through not getting Champions League, and it's affecting our ability to really react. Yes, signing Partey was great and we had to pay the release clause, but did that come as a result of selling Martinez? Ideally, someone you'd want to have kept. We all know it was a case of we have to sell to a degree in terms of buying. So we couldn't buy a winger, so we had to take one for free. And Willian has now signed for the club, sort of thing. We couldn't get that creative man in, and lo and behold, we've got a bag of problems creatively. So the quicker we move people on, even El Nene, shout out to El Nene for his form, but ideally, if we were able to move him on, he wouldn't be here. Let's keep it 100% real, people. He's someone the club were looking to move on, and fans were saying to move on, deservedly so. It is what it is in that regards, man. It is what it is, man. Moving forward, though, it is what it is. So it depends what you read and who you read it from. But I think the Szoboszlai one is back to the drawing board. And as much as I would have liked Arawa or Szoboszlai, It is what it is. This is football. You've got to have a bag of other targets. And I know we're going for a more sort of less is more approach, and there's less facts and things like that, people. But you'd love to imagine whoever is in charge, whether it's Stat DNA or whatever, we found a next target, because you're going to have to bring me a third man now. Arteta has to show that he can coach creativity and stuff, because as I've previously said, I don't think it's as white and black as you bring in a creative man, all the problems are solved. But we need to bring in a creative man as well. That's the second side of the double-edged sword. I'd see said smash the like button, man. It is what it is. And there's you lot have been commenting quite a lot, people. Apologies as I've been reading things. I haven't tuned in too much. It need hour. It is what it is, man. Trust me, it is what it is, man. Keelan has said, DG, what is frustrating you more, the lack of goals from Lacazette or the fact that Aubameyang is being forced wide for Lacazette and not being played to his full capabilities? Both equally, man. The lack of goals all round, man. It's the lack of goals, because if goals were being scored, it is what it is, man. Like, I'd say the lack of goals. I would say the lack of goals from Lacazette, because you know, as crap as Aubameyang's been playing, at least you can say he's shown a previous record of being a good goal scorer. Lacazette has scored goals, but you know, he's never been consistent, really and truly. So I'd say that's what frustrates me the most. So let's see, man. You know, we've got some love there. Love for that, my guy. They did, my guy. You know, Villa sourced us. Is what it is. He does need to sort out the midfield, man. That's as frustrating as Joe Willock is. At least Joe tries to make them run. We ain't got no runners. We ain't got no creative man. You know, we ain't got no one that's a threat from distance. Our midfielders ain't really screaming anything, man. It is what it is. I mean, he had a tour and it was a myth, but they're saying before all of that, my guy, and rightly so, he should have had it set for Dortmund. He's seeing what they're doing. They've actually signed a couple of other young players that haven't made 13 appearances, but you know, right. So if he went to United, what would have happened? It's more, look how Green was being treated off the field. You know, it would have been more scrutiny. The team's not patterned. He would have been a young man sinking. Man would start calling man overrated and all of these things, where Dortmund, just go play your football. Same way he was right in the state, because some men like have been in Jude's position. They'll play a couple times for their first team. Like someone will play 10 times for Birmingham. They get the move to the bigger club. You're in the 23s. No one knows where you are. He done the right thing. He stayed. The right project came to him. He moved, man. So big him up for that move, man. He did what he needed to do. Moderators, please pattern up. Some of these, we're having some good chat in the comments, but there's some bored virgins right now, and I guess Pornhub must have put them on lockdown or something, because they're coming to terrorize my thing. But let's move away from all of this, man. So we've spoken about the bare transfer news there is. We've been on Pepe, we've been on Bellingham, we've been on Szoboszlai. The only thing, sadly, to speak about before we do something else, people, is this whole Greg Clark, a man that I've seen give several talks at Kick It Out events. I don't care how old he is. I know people will say education's key. If a man that's held prominent positions in business, held a position at FIFA and held a position at high regard in FIFA, I mean at FA, hell, forget all of that. A football man who, if any sportsman, if any human being should see that football shows everybody's equal, regardless of your sex, race, orientation, whatever, he should be one of them. I know he's out of touch because he's not a fan, but he should know. So to hear terms like coloured and outdated, you know, comments about people of South Asian descent, it's atrocious. If he's saying that and he is at the top, what are people saying below him that are sort of the gatekeepers before you get to that level? What is he saying in closed doors? I don't care that he said he lived in America and he did all of these things. If you know about the term coloured truly, you wouldn't use it in the term he did. He tried to relate it to people of colour. That's completely different from what you said. You said coloured, and last time I checked, you know, I'm black 24/7. So, and I don't even believe in the term coloured. It doesn't make any sense people, especially not in relation to us. But to hear him say that, it was unacceptable, really and truly. And rightly so, he had to resign. Like I said, the most chilling thing for me is this is a man I've watched with my own eyes. Like how I'm sitting here, he is sat and spoken about what he's trying to do in terms of breaking down barriers, what the FA is doing, secret meetings he's tried to have with certain ex-managers and players and stuff. So to hear him say that in front of Parliament, you know, it is what it is. And I bet he rules actually go into Parliament that day, because if he shut his mouth, we wouldn't be speaking about it, and he still have these prejudices within him, you know, and these outdated terms. You know, I've heard that. I've heard what's the one about in the woodpile thing as well. Not that I want anyone to answer that, but in terms of the Conservatives, and you know, it's there's a lot of racism in this country. There's a lot of unconscious bias. Even I'm seeing the government, they're releasing, not to make it about politics, but fancy enough, a report found by the government that went into, you know, basically living standards and life and health in relation to black people. It's published at 1 o'clock, almost past midnight. Why is that done? Is it done on purpose? Nothing is done on purpose. In the same way, I mean, nothing is done by accident. In the same way, this wasn't a slip of the tongue. This wasn't, I'm sorry. This wasn't an age thing. This was just him being a waste man, like really and truly. And he said, and actually the segment that got him in trouble when referring to black players, he said himself, if I look at what happens to high profile female footballers, to high profile colored footballers, and the you see, even me, people, I have to do that again. I'm frazzled there hearing that one. But Clark said, if I look at what happens to high-profile female footballers, to high-profile coloured footballers, and the abuse they take on social media is free for all. Now, again, all you have to do is replace that with black footballers or BAME, even though I don't like the term BAME, anything like that. This isn't a thing. Everyone agrees with what you said, but you mentioned coloured. You've let yourself down. You've shot yourself in the foot. You've revealed your true self. This was obviously, and then when further questioning, he was interrupted by one of the committee members, and they pointed out the words he used, and to which they said to him, when you said something early on, I think I heard you refer to coloured people. If that is the case, would you want to withdraw that language? Because isn't that exactly the sort of language that means that inclusion is not a reality, even though football is very diverse? Facts. And we can talk about football is diverse and we're breaking down barriers. All I say to you, and it's not in a harsh way, it's not to seem sour. Look at the football teams. Yeah, people, look at the football team. You can see the levels instantly. Look at the football teams. Like, look at Arsenal. Look at the football team. Yeah, you can find Partey, Aubameyang, and the rest of them. Then look at the coaching staff. Tell me who you see. Then look at the people at Edu's level. Who do you see? In fact, Edu, go on his Instagram, people, or whatever. When Arsenal signed Partey, did he not take a picture of all the transfer team and whatnot? Go and look at what that tells you. Go and look at the owners of these clubs. Nothing is going to change. Nothing is going to change, really. Ownership changes things. It isn't going to change. This tells you we've still got a long way to go in terms of inclusion. So as much as I've got love for people like Tyrone Mings, people like Raheem Sterling, people like Marcus Rashford, you know, even Anton Ferdinand of recent, you know, long way to even Lingard, you know, big up Lingard. I think he done some TV show thing. I think I saw it on my Snap where he spoke about it. We've got a long way to go. You know, we're always going to, not that I want it to be a case, you know, we keep fighting, we don't shut up, but we're going to be here talking about it because we're not in positions of power. We're still going to be here with asking, please, sir, stop doing that. You know, it's a bit of a joke, really and truly. And like I said, he shot himself in the foot. You know, man said coloured. I'm not even going to waste any further time on that. He did apologize. He said, if I said it, a man said, if you said it, brother, if I said it, I deeply apologize. I am a product of working overseas where I was required to use the phrase people of colors. Sometimes I trip over my words. You don't trip over your words, because if you was talking about certain others or saying certain other things or minding offense elsewhere, you damn well weren't. And you can't afford to trip over your words with the position you're in, and definitely not trip up your words like that and a word like that. So you shot yourself in the foot. He said he was deeply saddened for the offense he had caused by using the term, of course. As you lot know, he prompted further criticism, but yeah, people. And then he went on to obviously, I'm not even gonna I don't even want to waste time on it. But he said, if you go to the IT department at the FA, there's a lot more South Asians than there are Afro-Caribbeans. They have different career interests. And you know what I find funny as well? Obviously, we have to speak about statistics for whatever reason. But whenever we hear we're all the same color, we don't see skin. We don't see this. Funny enough, when they're describing people, colored, South Asian, Afro-Caribbean, you find these other terms, you find all the logic behind it. So it's almost like they're taking you for idiots. And he shot himself in the foot, people. He really did shoot himself in the foot. He really did shoot himself in the foot. One of you guys, brought this to me. And again, I apologize to Roy Hodgson if this isn't true, if he never said this, but apparently these comments are floating online. He said, I feel a little bit disappointed that players are going as far as Africa to play matches. I don't know that in this COVID world and environment in which we live in, it is really great news to be sending your players to places like Sudan and Mauritius. And I think that is, again, that tells you about this unconscious bias and these undertones within football. If someone like Roy Hodgson, people can talk about the fact that he's 70 years of age and whatnot. Look at that Crystal Palace team. If someone can be around these sort of people and the multinationals that are in there and say something along those lines, it's quite upsetting. You know, this is a man who himself said he lives for football and is prepared to risk it all and all of these things, you know. And again, did he say the same logic when Armstrong of Southampton? Not that it directly affects him, but did he say it when Armstrong or whoever for Scotland, you know, Southampton's and Scotland international got it? No, he didn't. Did he say anything about Mikel Arteta? What was going on there? You know, places like Mauritius and Sudan in particular. What is it against them? Are you any more likely to catch corona there than here? Again, if statistically you can rise up some facts, and if he was on the sort of logistics in traveling, and the further you go, the more people you're about to meet and come into contact with, I can get the logic behind that, but it doesn't sound like that. So again, this could be one of those Twitter things where they're not true, but I have to speak about it. And it's quite sad, you know, it's quite sad that someone that's the head of the FA and someone that manages Crystal Palace, a team in South London, a South London born and raised man, I believe Hodgson is, comes up with these. And we can talk about it's an age thing, but it's educating yourself, you know, calling someone a gollywog and these things there. It might have been, not saying these lot are, but it might have been acceptable, whether I agree with that or not, however many years ago. And I'm sure these lot might not have been saying it, but they knew it was probably more common in society. But you know, don't say that in society now. So why have you not learned the same logic? So it's a bit sad, really and truly, that we're in this, man. It is what it is. And he holds a position at FIFA as well. So it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Bro, I hear that. I hear that about it comes down to education. But you see the education thing, you've got to want to be educated for one. And we have to stop assuming that people that as stupid as and as retarded racism is, and how much it robs you of common sense, we need to stop assuming that these guys are not highly intelligent, you know. And I think there's a again, we need to obviously unconscious bias and conscious biases have racial undertones. We need to differentiate. If you're talking about trying to help people unlearn their unconscious biases and recognize their conscious biases, which we all have, I understand it. But that's people that have to be educated. You know, these are people that are stuck in their ways. You know, how long will it take you to learn something new away from racism? People are stuck in their ways, and he's gone through life not having to navigate with caring about people's opinions or understanding how hurtful these things can be. Clearly, or you wouldn't hold a position he's held and come up with nonsense like that. It's a bit crazy, man. It's a mad one, really and truly. That's what I'm saying. If he's saying it from a logistical point of view, I get it. But like, but the way it sounds just at face value, that sounds a bit booky, my guy. Like I said, in Roy Hodgson's case, I don't know the context and whatnot, and if it's true and what he said, and I'm not saying he's anything. For Greg Clark, fuck Greg Clark. That's my language. Pardon it, people. Thank you very much, man. You know, BAME doesn't exist. BAME doesn't exist. It's almost, BAME is a theme of a run drop ball. If you look at I'm not Nigerian at all, but first and foremost, who made the term black? I don't want to make it about this, but black is actually, no black person said we're black. They never called ourselves black. You get it? And you look at someone like a place like Nigeria, when you've got many different diverse tribes and sets of people, and the same can be said for others. How can you quantify one group of people within their own color and their own class and their own tribes and backgrounds? And the same can be said for other countries before you talk about them, other things. That I could be sat down with several other people who might share the tone in that they're ethnic minorities, but we're all different. Like, I think I'm not BAME at all. Like, I am black. Like, shout out to everybody, but I am BAME. I'm not taking no BAME thing. I'm BAME. I'm not BAME. Like, simple as. It's a bit mad, but it's a form of the one drop rule, in my opinion. Lacazette is just, yeah, he's a hype man. He's a backup dancer, man. He's just one of them ones. Love for the donation, my guy. I didn't even see that, but love for that. Love for that. Bro, FIFA and them, man, there. Until people in society rise up, can forget it, man. Football mirrors society, man. It mirrors society. Thank you very much, Niall, man. I ain't even trying to preach, man. I just letting my thoughts go off, man. This is it, man. What? You know what? You lot told me to stop replying to idiots. So I'm just gonna block, man. See the growth there. See the mental growth. Stupid, man. Anyways, is what it is. Thoughts on the media targeting Greenwood. Now, listen, with Greenwood, you know, if you're not doing the business in training, if you've got caught messing with gal and them thing there, you've got to face the music in it again. But for me, it's hot, and he's got to learn the lessons because that's being a footballer. If you didn't get caught with folding, it isn't spoken about. But I do think it is harsh. It's all, and it goes again when depending on who you are, you're seen as, you know, you get another chance. I'm not saying Grealish should be held accountable for anything because now he's in the good headlines for playing football, not getting drunk and stuff. But it's just when other people do it, it seems as a one out, like they're a good kid, they just moved mad, which rightly so is the case. We all make mistakes, we all do dumb stuff when we're younger, we face the music, we accept what happens. But it doesn't seem people like Greenwood are going to be forgiven for their mistakes. So I think it's harsh. I think what the one thing Greenwood can take from this is he's going to have to grow up fast, because whether it was going to be this or what it should be just about football, you know, they're not going to care. People are not going to care that you're a young man. You're a young man that's now played for England, played for Man United. You know, you've got to develop some thick skin. I'm not saying it's right. I defo don't agree with it. I think it's absolutely effing appalling. And it's crazy. It's crazy. They're just onto him for anything. You know, all of a sudden now there's all talk about attitude every week, training. There's this, there's that, and the third. It's quite upsetting, really and truly. It really is. It really is, man. But the less said on that, the better, man. Big up Mason Greenwood and all of the rest of them, man. Who's been a good servant to the club? I don't know who you're on about. How many points we'll get from our next 3 games? How long's a piece of string, my dude? Who is our next 3 games? Let me check that real quick. I can do this from memory, bro. I can do this from memory. I can do this. Leeds United, Wolves, Spurs. I know I'm wrong. I definitely got the Leeds one right. Come on. What was I right? Hey! Premier League, Leeds, Wolves, Spurs. I got it right. Let's disregard the 2 Europa League games. Those 3 games, boy, you know, Spurs are better formed than us. I've been shook off Wolves for a long number of years. I ain't looking forward to going to Ellen Road. All right, my heart is telling me 9 points. My brain is saying 4. I hope for 6. I hope it's not 3. I hope it's not 0 to 3. I'm hoping for 6 to 9. I'd say 4. I can see a loss, a draw, and a win. You know, hopefully we win in the North London derby if that's where it has to be. I'm a bit nervous about going away at Ellen Road. I know the fans ain't there, but I always mention it in my vids. One game that will stick with me for this season is City versus Leeds, because I saw 2 separate sides of Leeds. I saw a timid Leeds that can be there for the taking, probably the one that lost in their last game against Palace. But that second half, when they're ferocious, when Leeds don't care who you are in the game and these things there, it's long for you. I saw Pep Guardiola bring in some mad defensive subs. You would have thought it's 2 points drop for City. They were begging for a point. They had Bielsa. Bielsa was just mashing them up. You know, he's bringing on Ake. He's bringing on, I can't remember who he's bringing on, but I'm shook of Leeds. I hope it's the Leeds that played away to Palace. But we all know as an Arsenal fan, form goes out the window. You know, just last Sunday, Aston Villa, you wouldn't have thought they lost 2 games on the spin. They did what they needed to do. So hopefully that goes for your question. I don't know. Did we ever go for him? Don't know. Would take Nkunku, man. Done a lot of developing, man. You lot are doing me dirt. They're doing me dirty, man. YouTube doing me dirty. It's not even notifying you lot, man. So make sure you've got the subscription bells on, man. It does you lot dirty, man. I'm gonna see if there's something I can do in that regards, but it does you lot dirty. But make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you got the reminders on, and make sure, most importantly, you're liking the video. We're live right now, man. Bro, not that I want to get at, not that I want Foden to be got at, but you know, if he was another person, he'd be called a womanizer. Look at the logic between Rashford and him both buying yards. Simple as, bro. It's a mad thing. Once again, I'd be happy with Okonkwo. I think he's done a lot of developing. I would have taken him when he was linked around Emery's time, but he wasn't the player he is now. I don't think he's going to solve all our issues, but I wouldn't mind him. On ability, yes, with everything included. Again, if it was like James Rodriguez and he went somewhere else and he kind of banged, fair play. But I just feel Isco's one one to probably stay clear from, really and truly, if it can't be done on loan. If we can't do it on loan because of we've actually got another one of their players in Ceballos, who knows? Big Gunner Diaz said, bro, this team is so unbalanced. Do we need a 10 or an 8? I feel in today's football, we probably need more of an attacking 8 because we need someone a bit more athletic. Or, you know, if we can find someone that's a 10, I call it an 8.5/a 10 because Kevin De Bruyne is that for me. He's an 8.5. He's not quite a 10. He's not quite an 8. He's a bit of both. He's the modern day. We are obviously not going to get Kevin De Bruyne, but we need someone like that. We need someone like that. And I feel exactly what you're saying about Saka. Not even just Willian. I think regardless of the position, Saka is just showing bare man what it means to play for an Arsenal team. Saka is moving like he's been here for 10 years. And some of these men were playing football close to before Saka was even born, really and truly. And I think Saka's showing man what it means to play for Arsenal, man. That Wilshere's a lovely player, my guy. Got a lot of time for him, wanting to return to the club when he does take up coaching and things. But it is what it is, man. Maybe, man. Maybe if Arteta keeps moving like this, but I don't think it's the time for me to do this thing. I mean, Arsenal are difficult to break down, but 9/10 of the law are to attack. If you sit back, eventually think about it, people. If I barricade myself into a door and you keep and I put bare stuff behind that door, yeah, it might be solid, but eventually it might take years. But if you keep banging that door, kicking it up, you're gonna breach it. That's what a defense is. Where if I wanted you lot to really go away, I might keep the door open, but I might come round the back and attack you. That attack from the front. And that's what I want, unpredictable attack. And in the Premier League, long gone are them days, my guy, where definitely for Arsenal, we can do this 1-0 to the Arsenal over a 38-game period. In isolation, like in the cup games, regardless of United's form, like the other week against them, you know, even the fact that we lost 1-0 to City, I mean, even though I don't want that to happen, isolation, you can do those things, but it's not sustainable over a 38-game period. Whatever you say, you have to offer something. Like I mentioned, Leeds against Man City. Leeds tried to sit back in the first half. They brought on Pandovar and guys like that, had a goal, and you saw what time it was. You know, you have to attack. Aaron, thank you for your donation as well. I don't know why it doesn't let me bring up the super chats. I think I've missed it, but you've said it has been really difficult to watch this Arsenal team this season. Don't know how you keep a healthy attitude creating content around this. Much love. Thank you very much for your donation, my guy. It's well, isn't it? It's like it's therapy in it. At some point, you've just got to accept the result in it. It is. I share everything you said. It is what it is. Lee, I believe James Ward-Prowse is a class act. I think I would take him. I don't think he's a bad player, but I wouldn't say he's the answer to our creative problems. He's the answer to our free kick issues, but I wouldn't say the creative issue. I wouldn't have him down as someone that's a mad creative and things like that. He can pass the ball. You know, he's a steady Eddie in many departments. He's got he's a threat from set pieces. He's consistent, but in terms of he is a class act, but in terms of answer to our creative problems, I don't think it's him. It's a bit like he's not the same as Partey, but it's a bit like looking at Partey to fix our problems in that he's not that skill set. He might be able to pass the ball, but he's not of that skill set, if that makes sense. Make sure you're hitting the like button, people. We've been here for 1 hour and 16 minutes. Bro, he said it with his chest, bro. He said it with his chest. No excuses for racism at all. It doesn't effing matter what you are, man. Judge a man, like I always say, judge a man or a woman on their principles, man. Judge a man or a woman on their principles. Don't make preconceptions because of man's skin color. It's ridiculous, man. And that's one thing we deluded, man. Even in general, I've grown up with a lot of people. I've grown up with some. What's this? Something wrong with the title. Let me check that. Apologies, people. What's going on there? What's going on there? Signing Tony Adams. One sec. How YouTube does you dirty, people. This is why I don't like to do the whole. I'll let you lot know, when I start a stream, I actually like to just make it there and then, because for some reason sometimes I type my titles in and YouTube just make these mad mistakes, and then it just makes man look mad dyslexic. I don't know what's going on in that regards, but it is what it is. I'm gonna actually go on StreamYard and let's put that in. Love for notifying me, my guy. Like I said, apologies if you are dyslexic in that, but it's just making me look mad dyslexic, fam. Like, what's all of this? Let me pattern this up. pattern it up after. But love to the people who understand what go on, man. Think I've changed it now. Think I've patterned it, but it is what it is in that regards. Actually, man said he smokes best fifth traffic. Get, oh man, big up my Canadians, man. Wavy baller, one of the footballers I was thinking of when I said he signed. He's gone to Thingy. He's gone to Dortmund. He's had a good education at Reading. He's had a good education at City, and now he joins Dortmund. Don't know how it's going to work out, but it's a good place to develop and set you up for if you're going to have a future there or elsewhere. I don't even think it's a working too hard thing. I'm not saying you, but I think Lacazette gets bare excuses, man. I hear someone say if he was at Madrid and that he'd get 20 goals, he might, but bare man would, but he's not. You know, I like Lacazette. You know, he's not being fed any service, but he's not a 20 league goal, man. Lacazette's problem is he's not a consistent goal scorer. And I like all the other facets of Lacazette's game. In the modern day, goals is all I care about from my striker, but you've got to be able to do more. But the flip side of that is, no matter how far you go in the game, no matter how good you are in big games, no matter how much you get the best out of Aubameyang and this, that, and the other, you got to be able to score goals. The reality is, if Lacazette got 20 league goals, maybe the club have cold feet about giving Aubameyang a new deal. Aubameyang's probably not signing for Arsenal if Lacazette could score goals. You know, Arsene Wenger was never really convinced on Lacazette. Lo and behold, 6 months after actually signing him, we bring a different man in. Lacazette's a good player for the squad. I don't think he's quite a player you can rely on. I like Bellerin. I like Bellerin, but I don't think Bellerin's it. I want to be proven wrong. You know, I want to be proven wrong in Bellerin's regards. I don't know for Bellerin. I don't know for Bellerin because, you know, sometimes he turns up like against United, like in a couple of these cup games, you know, then second half against Southampton, Sheffield United, apologies. Then you might get the Bellerin that you saw on Sunday. We just need to move on. I would like Maitland-Niles to be given an opportunity or to seek elsewhere if he's not going to make a meal of it, because this season someone needs to grab that right back spot. There's 3 man, someone needs to grab it. I do think though Bellerin is one of those players when it isn't going right, it's a bit like Xhaka. I might not think Bellerin's the guy long term, Xhaka the same, but I think it's cool to blame them for everything. Sometimes if it's their fault or they've played badly, I'm not saying not constructive criticism, but there's been times where I've been watching games and I just see them 2 names and I'm like, yeah, they play poor, but it's not adapting sort of thing. So they got onto him. Swear down, Gomez got injured. I don't know what's going on for Liverpool. You got Trent, you got Gomez, you got Van Dijk, you got Fabinho. And I mean, if Liverpool win the title this season, you know, you've got to applaud. I'd applaud them more than last season, not because of the records, because bare injuries now, bare injuries. And this is what tells you this: you need a strong squad. And I think Liverpool will learn from this and they will help Klopp in the market. I hope he addition for us if we got 70 million. Thank you very much for your praise, man. Love for that, man. Just as long as you are provided with some decent content, it means the world. Would love Emmanuel in January, but I think that's dream chasing, my guy. If I'm him and I'm trying to go play for France in the summer, I'm not trying to leave. You know, I'm really not trying to leave. If money's put on the table, then it is what it is, but I don't think that's the case. Aaron, apologies, man. I just thought, you know, you super chatted. It wasn't allowing me to show your thing. So I thought I'd show your thing now that I finally get half a chance to. So while I've answered it already, once again, thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for your positive words. But yeah, man. What you lot saying, though? Get the likes up, man. What you lot saying, man? Where you lot watching this from? I know a lot of you are in different countries and whatnot. It's always fine. You could say that, you know. I saw in the second half, was it Liverpool City? Both of them went 4-4-2. Mate, with Partey, I'm not going to lie, I'm open to entertaining it, but I just don't think our wide men are on that. I think if we play 4-4-2, definitely have to go Saka on the left and Pepe on the right for me. And I think with Partey, I'm more confident because I've got the pivot on. It is what it is. And like my man said, where is my guy? Like my guy Marcus Scott, he said, you don't need to spam up the thing. We'll get to it. Thank you very much. I see him regulating. That's it, man. And Lacazette's never been a breezes. He's never been the quickest. But is it just me or Lacazette's lost a bit of the pace and whatnot, man? And again, Lacazette is naturally declining as a footballer as well. He's 29. Obviously, when I say declining, it don't mean, you know, you're good one week, you're crap the other. But he's just clearly, evidently, naturally on the come down as a professional footballer. And again, it'll be interesting to see what he's done. I definitely agree with that. Man said, God said there's no chance can win again. Wait, have to see. Trust me, bro. But that's why you got to utilize your squad to the fullest. We got people, man said 1-5. I assume you're at work, you're in the toilet, run up the likes like Sean says. Come on, my guy, you're from Brom. Swear down, he broke his leg. You're gassing, man. You're gassing. I'm gonna big up everyone in a sec, but I need to see this for myself on Google, people. Injured in training, suffered an injury, faces a crack. It's not saying that the news could now be facing a spell on the set. It's not really giving up, man, any specifics, but all right, it is what it is. It's not giving up anything like that. Jack Grealish ain't free agent next summer. You're lying. Why isn't you're lying? Or do you mean just in general? I'm not even gonna look. I think you mean just in general. I might have read that wrong, so it is what it is. But I wouldn't mind Grealish. I wouldn't mind the pay, but I'd rather just Grealish. Just that with that. We got Las Vegas in the house again. Come on, man's in the toilet watching it, as I've just said. Hasn't happened, and I would like to see it happen. Of course, I'll take Szoboszlai, but he looks to be going Salzburg, my tug. Big up my JA tugs in this, man. How does Arteta expect the Fools to score goals if they are in defense? They must be knackered. Bro, wish I had an answer for you. Don't have an answer, unfortunately. I mean, that's a cheap one, man. I mean, to be fair, Arsenal, playing for Arsenal would stress out everyone, man. It stress out everyone. So on Sky Sports, swear down. Big up Jay, you said maybe selling Laka is the best option to fund a creative player like Julian Brandt, Szoboszlai, or maybe Draxler on loan. I think selling Lacazette because of his contract and selling Lacazette to potentially achieve balance, agreed, could be the thing. Regardless of keeping Lacazette or whatever, I mean, keep it. Whatever happens with Lacazette, we should be looking for a creative man. Trust me, get well soon, man. You never want to see people injured. Hopefully, Gomez's injury isn't that serious sort of thing, and he gets back as quickly as possible. This is a man's health, people. But it is what it is in that regards. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's why I said my bad, my guy. Come on, my G. Bro, and that's what I'm saying. If they win the league, you've got to respect their team more than the one they did last year, because that's bare injuries. Bare injuries. In fact, funny enough, how often did Arsenal's Invincible 11 play like the 11 we'd expect play together? I saw a statistic. I ain't got it to memory, so I ain't gonna be thinking moving mad. I hear that. He's there. I see why, but nah, man. He's an inside forward. I'm not too sure on the shadow striker thing. I definitely feel you on the inside forward. He's not really keen to hug the touchline, man. To be fair, I rate up on Meccano, my guy, but I think he's one of those footballers people sensationalize. Like they make out. It's like they did it with Sandro, they did it with Meccano, they did it with Aouar, they did it with Bearman. You know when someone's linked with a Premier League team or whatever, you start putting man at a level they're not, and you start making out they're all perfect and these things like that. It's a bit mad. Bit too early for that, my guy. Bit too early for that. Nope, just that he's going to be back in training towards the end of this. Well, he's back in training and he aims to be fully taking part by the end of the year. But I want us to take our time with that, man. I want us to take our time with that. Boy, you would probably sign Calvert-Lewin. Probably wouldn't, because when suddenly, look, with us with Calvert-Lewin, take nothing away from him. You know he needs service. We're going to suddenly stop crossing the ball, and then we're going to be surprised as to why his goal output has gone down. So we wouldn't. I wouldn't mind Calvert-Lewin. Yeah, I wouldn't mind Calvert-Lewin. I sure as hell would love Highland, but ain't gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Exactly. Kevin's on the right thing. I just think Lacazette's too slow on the counter. I think because he drops deep, and to be fair, he's involved in the build-up to a lot of goals. But I just think the lack of pace harms us, man. And I think too many players, centre halves, back themselves in a foot race against him, man. What else? Couple more questions and get out of here, people. I'm spoiling, you know. I definitely agree. But I'm not too sure for the amount of time, but it was a bit of a mad stat. I think Klopp's got as much as I'm, and you know me, I'm PEPE'S. As much as I'm PEPE'S, though, Klopp has a case already, you know. I think obviously when you bring in the Barca thing and all these things, Pep probably nudges it, but I've seen Klopp build a thing at Liverpool. I'm not saying I ain't seen him build a thing at City, but I remember the the sheer quality of player Klopp has had to work with. You know, Pepe's had the luxury of, okay, cool, 50 million don't work, let's get rid. Klopp hasn't exactly had that. People, I'm not acting like Klopp came out from nothing. You know, they had to reinvest money and things and whatnot. But you get the point, man. Man says thanks for spoiling us. Ain't nothing, man. He's decent still. He's decent still. I don't mind Connor Cody, but I'd rather, yeah, at this stage, why not, man? I'd rather not. I'd rather just give Saliba the chance, man. This is why I thought if we're doing this back three thing, David Luiz, Gabriel, Saliba, let Saliba make these mistakes now, get a bit more senior, then Gabriel can kind of be the guy who holds the hands and whatnot, similar to what Luiz is doing now. So we'll have to see. Hope not. I mean, you know, Haaland, they've been linked with Haaland, they've been linked with Mbappe, you know, we'll get Gazy, we'll get mad. Oh, man, imagine all that. It'd be mad. It'd be mad. Absolutely. How long do we lose patience with Arteta? If this persists, you know, right now, I can't put a time stamp on it, my guy, but if this persists, if we get a couple of months down the line and I haven't seen a reaction to these things, or I'm not seeing the inroads being built that I want, we have to review we have to review his position. RBK said, as much as I appreciate a hard worker, yeah, bro, this is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying as well. You know, if you're not, at least with Lacazette, you could run behind that. His lack of goals, he gives you that, but he's not doing that. And that's for me why I don't understand. We don't go through it with Aubameyang through the middle, because nothing that Lacazette is bringing to the table justifies Aubameyang being out there to accompany him. It doesn't make no sense, really and truly. Fair play, fair play. I wouldn't mind it because that's fast, that's interchangeable. You know, I want to see interchange, and I want to see, because if Aubameyang and Martinelli, if Aubameyang and Martinelli play together, they can both play on the left and play through the middle. I want to see them swapping in games. I want to see Pepe and Martinelli swapping, occupying these positions and whatnot, because that's what I want. Fast interchange in football. We're too predictable at this moment in time, people. One more question I'm gonna get out of here, man. I really like him. I wouldn't mind him at all. The price tag though means we probably won't go for him. One more question and I'm out of here. Anish has said, what should do to start in place of Bellerin? You have to ask Mikel Arteta, my guy. You know, just I don't know. I don't think he fancies him in a back four as much as he fancies Bellerin. Maybe it's because Maitland-Niles isn't a natural fullback. I don't know, but pray to God, I'd say, really. Pray to God, man. So yeah, man. Bro, the goals are a problem. Goals are a problem. Goals are a problem. A serious problem. Exactly what we need. Exactly what we need. We need a builder. We need someone that wants the ball. We need someone that can rotate the ball quickly. You know, imagine Chelsea have them in abundance, bro. Kovacic and Jorginho. Not that I'm sensationalizing Jorginho. I definitely am with Kovacic. Them man there move the ball quickly. Don't skip out, men. You know, sometimes you don't have to pass to your fullback and whatnot, and things can get done. But with that being said, man, I'm out. What's this guy talking about? So you lose patience with Arteta, but none with some of these deadwood players with their atrocious performances season after season. Doesn't make sense, really. Lee, I think you're displaying an inability to listen, because you've heard me praise and critique Arteta fairly. You've heard me talk about selling Lacazette. You've seen me questioning several players at this club throughout the course of this live stream. So I'd suggest actually removing yourself from the situation, keeping a cool head and looking at things objectively. But in terms of my thing, you're not going to be allowed to comment anymore, because we don't condone stupidness. It's down to Arteta to prove you wrong, I guess. It's down to him to prove you wrong. That's all it is. Come on, get the likes up, man. Come on, let's get that thing up. Serious, as you said, man. Come on. Why are you cutting so soon? Bro, it's been an hour and a half, bro. It's 4:30. It's 4 o'clock out here, man. I'm going to eat, man. Love for that, my guy. Come on. Man said, I feel like Arteta catfished me. Jeez, man. Boy, when it gets to a thing like that, you ain't got much of a chance, have you? You ain't got much of a chance. Bro, Ziyech was there on his knees begging to join this club, bro, and it got mad for us. Last question, though. Top 4 this season, yes or no? No. based on what I'm seeing right now. On that note, though, I'll probably be back tomorrow or something with a live stream. Make sure you're aware of all the socials. Links are in the description. It's been a lovely hour and a half, but all good things have to come to an end, folks. On that note, DG, I'm out.